Dames en heren, hartelijk welkom vanmiddag bij de boekpresentatie van Andrea Vreedes tweede boek bij uitgeverij Conserve. De eerste was De Magie van Rome, ook al is 6 jaar geleden verschenen. 10.000 exemplaren verkocht. Ik hoop dat we dat bij Mario Monti ook gaan halen. Maar dan moet hij nog een paar stoute dingen doen, denk ik. In ieder geval heeft Andrea al een paar prachtige interviews achter de rug in Dit is de Dag. En gisteravond in Met het oog op morgen. Ik heb het vanochtend beluisterd, want ik lag op dat moment in bed. Want ik was geveld door een griep. En et cetera, et cetera. U weet hoe het weer hier is. En vandaag is het 19 tot 21 graden. Zo kan het verkeren in Nederland. Ik moet u zeggen dat ik een korte speech zal houden. En die doe ik in het Engels. Omdat de nieuwe ambassadeur van Italië, Mr. Francesco Azzarello, hier is vandaag. En hij wil het niet in het Italiaans, want hij zegt dan kunnen de meeste mensen niet verstaan. Dus doe het alsjeblieft in het Engels. So therefore I speak in English. On behalf of Mrs. Marina Warnes, owner of Libreria Bonardi, I would like to welcome the ambassador, Mr. Francesco Azzarello, at the presentation of Andrea Vreede's new book. And his wife, of course. The book is called Super Mario Monti, the professor who had to save Italy and the euro. My name is Kees de Bakker and I'm the publisher of this book. If Monti leads us to a cellar, the question we cannot answer yet, but one thing is certain, it's the new Andrea book. I already tried to seduce her to pay attention in the book to the Pope. But you know, Andrea is a very busy lady, so it will be a question of time when she can write a book about the Pope. As you know, there is a new Pope in Rome. For one who didn't know, there is a new Pope in Rome. There are people who don't know it. For many people, Andrea's performance on television during the Pope elections was a wonderful spectacle. That brought me long ago to her, hello, and asked her to write her first book in the NOS series of correspondence, like Pieter Damkoer in Moscow and Margriet Brandsma in Berlin. But also we published some books about Rome, like Wim Zaal, Roma Magica, Herman Post, Te voet naar Rome. And then the magic came. The magic of Rome. Andrea Vreede. But no nonsense now. I give the word to you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. 2 words in Italian. Eccellenza, ambasciatore Francesco Azzarello e sua consorte, sono estremamente onorata che voi siete venuti qua. Voi sapete, io ho una piccola storia con gli ambasciatori italiani, quindi sono stata molto colpita, molto commossa quando ho saputo che sareste venute qua, quindi grazie mille. For I have a little history with ambassadors, as you well know, and I'm very honored that the ambassador is here and his wife. Mario Monti. You might say he's quite in decline now, but you never know what happens to Italian prime ministers. He's a demissionary, how do you say that? Demissionario? Prime minister. My English isn't that good. I usually speak Italian or Dutch. Anyway. I was asked, actually pushed, by Kees in May last year if I would like to, it was May last year? Yeah, if I would like to write a book on Mario Monti in a series about prime ministers. There was a book about Angela Merkel. There was a book about Sarkozy by my distinguished colleagues Margriet Brandsma and Frank Renaud. And he asked me to write a book about the current prime minister, who obviously is Mario Monti and not the other one, who might be lots and lots of juicier, but I wouldn't know about that. And obviously there are books about him. So a new book, maybe the only book in Dutch about Mario Monti. My first impression was, oops, is there enough about him to fill a book? Because he is so boring, or rather correct and wonderful and one piece and transparent and married to the same woman for the past 40 years and so on and so on. So I was quite puzzled if I would be able to fill a book. Kay said something like 150 pages, and I was counting words, 300 words a page. So I was wondering if I could do that. And then I just started, because, as you well know, since the 1st of July of last year, I'm no longer the correspondent for Dutch public television for NOS in Italy, although for some strange reasons I'm now the Vatican watcher for the same television, but I'm not the correspondent, mind you, huh? I'm not the correspondent. So I needed to do something. I needed I needed a project, and I thought, let's do it. Why not? Huh? Writing a book is lovely. Sometimes one even earns a little bit of money with it. And it's something to do. It keeps me off the streets, so to speak. So I started, and I realized, writing about the fall of the other man before Mario Monti, the fall of Berlusconi, and the life, the biography of Mario Monti and everything, then I just started to realize the problems Mr. Monti is encountering and has had to deal with, trying to reform a country that really doesn't like reform. They talk about it all the time, but they really don't really seem to like it. Italy is a country of very small, very fierce revolutions and very, very long counter-revolutions. They don't seem to end. And now it is in a period of its short life, actually, because it's a rather new country, in which it needs reform. It has come to a point that something needs to change, really change. And we all thought, I think you thought, in Europe, in the Netherlands, in America, in Italy itself, we all thought when Mario Monti came to power that something really was going to change. A normal country with a normal prime minister who speaks a normal, transparent language, who communicates with his people, with his citizens, who has to push through horrible reforms, but explains them. And, well, you saw the markets and rejoice, and European political leaders rejoiced. But then things went sour after a few months. It became difficult, because Mario Monti had to work with the same political parties, parliament, political layer, political society that has allowed Italy to come where it is in a very low point in its history, I think. I believe, I'm very sorry to say so, I lived there. I have lived there for the past 20 years. I came there when Berlusconi came to power, and I have lived through him, and I have lived through the effect of his government and his way of being. And I have seen, and it's not just him, it's also people before him, I have seen a strong moral, social, economic decline. And at a certain point, we all thought, this can't get any lower. It needs to go up. And then he came. Super Mario Monti. It's his nickname from Europe. And he came. But he couldn't really do it. He couldn't put it off. And why is in here, so you will need to buy it if you want to know. Because while I was writing this book, I realized that it was not only about Mario Monti, but it's about the structural problems of Italy. About a country in which there are so many hardworking, fine, wonderful, tax-paying people who are intensely creative, and I think who have a sense of solidarity and of beauty, which is wonderful, who are intensely humane, but I think they are in the minority, and they are not the ones that count. There is this enormous amount of people who are the system, and the system is against change, against justice, against equality, against meritocracy, against a lot of things. And this book, in its very modest way, tries to explain that and hopes that it will change. Now, this is, as you well, I won't talk too much because it's warm in here. But as you well know, we've just had elections, and there were high hopes that there would become a clear government, even though with this current electoral law, it's very difficult to have a clear, stable majority government. As you very well know, the outcome is disastrous. 3 different blocs that cannot or will not or won't or whatever form a government, so we will have to wait what happens. One last thing, what I noticed is that there are many, many people, especially young people in Italy, and many of them you can find here in Amsterdam, because they run away from their country because they cannot find a job, or they cannot develop themselves as they want to, because there is no meritocracy, there is no reward for hardworking people. You need to have contacts to get a job in Italy, you need to be family of somebody. It's very, very difficult now. People go away, they emigrate, for instance, to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam. Many of those people would love to go back. They would love to go back and help and build the country to become a better and juster country. And I think maybe it can be done. It can be done, but we are in a sort of laboratory phase. This huge movement of the comic, of Beppe Grillo, and the people who have voted for so many new and young parliamentarians. I don't know what will come of it. But Italy is again a sort of a political laboratory in which something can be done, maybe also for Europe. Because we are all asking ourselves, is all this whole policy of cutting of budget, of austerity, is it so good for Europe? We are on a really interesting crossroads, and maybe this country is the first country that really is going to make a change, go to in a new direction. I'm an optimist by nature, even though I've been living in Italy for the past 20 years. But I'm still a real optimist, because I can see the positive energy. And then they elected, the cardinals, who are not Italians, or at least most of them, they elected Pope Francis. Now, maybe that's a sign. A new pope with a new message, who says, let's go back to the basics. Be nice to each other, be honest. And who knows if Italy will follow his path and change for the better. Ambassador, I really, really am honored to offer you the first, well, none of it's the first, but anyway, for me it's the first. Please come stand next to me. And please look into the camera.
Well, I suppose for the Italian publisher it depends on what's inside. I don't speak Dutch, and I am in a formal position here, so I cannot say my personal thoughts. I'll say them a little bit more institutionally, but in any case, I was asked from our Prime Minister office, that is also our Foreign Minister at the moment, after the dimissioni, how do you say in English? After our former Prime Minister resigned recently, I was asked from the Prime Minister's office to come here. They asked for the embassy, presence of the embassy at the launch of the book. I said, well, I mean, it's our Prime Minister, also my minister, the ambassador should be there. And so I profited of the occasion to come to Amsterdam. It is always a great pleasure. And yes, I know you have a little story with ambassadors. That's doesn't worry me. I think one has to deal with things. Each of us has his own has his own job and right to their thoughts in respect, obviously, of each other. In any case, Super Mario. I think that Super Mario will continue to be super in the future, not in history, because history is far. Let's give him just a little time. He has saved Italy. He has saved the euro. And this is also my personal conviction. He took Italy in a very difficult moment. His international credibility, let's not forget that when he was commissioner, and he was commissioner for the European Union for about 8-9 years, he won a case against Bill Gates. Mm-hmm. He had serious, let's say, different ideas with Sarkozy. Sarkozy at the end called him as a wise man in a special. Professor Senator, Life Senator Monti is an exceptional figure, and nowadays, and you see it also in your government, figures go low in terms of percentages of appreciation from public. Any government has difficulty. Any government cannot take any popular measures. It's always taxes. It's always reforms. Monti has done a lot. 13 months. Then at the end, a few important ones didn't pass but you'll have to read all this in the book, otherwise we won't sell enough copies to make some money, because books don't usually give you too much money unless you sell probably millions of copies. In any case, it's a lovely also occasion for me to be in this library, a historical Italian library. I've never been here. I'll have to say hello to the owner that I don't know, but it would be very nice to meet her. Where is she? She's back there. Okay, well, we'll and lovely to be with you. I suppose, and I'm quite, the feeling is that I'm sure that it would be interesting for everybody to read this book. Italy is slow in arriving at the results, and it's a long revolution. I don't know if you were. Well, you chose maybe not the perfect 20 years to live in Italy, but you were lucky enough to live in Italy, because Italians are lovely people in any case. And when we arrive at the result, we are always a footstep forward than any other people. So I think we must be positive. We are positive. We are hopeful. If we don't have a government for the moment, it's not bad. We have Mario Monti, and our president said it. We go again to elections in June or October. There's no problem. We continue our job. Things are or have been channeled in a certain way by our prime minister, and we'll follow the path, and we will surely arrive at a certain success, because from our success, and I'm being humble in this, but from our success it depends also partially the success of the European Union, because if Italy falls, it would be a problem. But Italy is strong economically, financially, in terms of fantasy, etc. We are not so organized and so I don't know, I don't find the proper word, as the Dutch or the Germans. If not, we would be fantastic. But our fantasy gives the southern flavor to Europe and to the European Union, and I think we're all happy about it. So thank you and congratulations. Thank you to you.